Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Rosie, it's my husband Jeremy.
Hello.
We have just spent a month travelling around Vietnam. We were backpacking for 1 month and I thought I would talk about the finances of how much we spent in different parts of the travel. So we're going to be talking about accommodation, transport, eating out, groceries, drinks, utilities, fun/visits, laundry, tips, bank fees, health and visa. So 12 different items we're going to be breaking down, talking about how much we spent in total, how much it was per person and how much it was per person per day as well at the end. So make sure you stay until the end so you can find out how much it is per person per day for 1 month backpacking around Vietnam. But first off, we're going to start off with accommodation.
Yeah, which was our biggest expense as we could expect. We have spent 499, so 500 euro in 30 days in Vietnam, in 5 different cities, I think.
Yeah, so we went to Hanoi, Cat Ba Island in Ha Long Bay, Hoi An, Saigon, which is Ho Chi Minh City, and Canto in the very south.
And all those accommodations were booked via booking.com. We went in hotel every time, we didn't do any Airbnb. And every time we had a private bedroom with a private bathroom in most of the time fairly quiet, but still central area of wherever we stayed.
Okay, so something to point out is that we're both 35, well I'll be 35 in April. We're married, so we're not going to be sharing bedrooms with people, and we also work a lot, so obviously I do YouTube. Jeremy has a lot of phone calls with American people, and we just work a lot, and we like our sleep as well, so it's very important for us to get good Wi-Fi so we can be uploading videos. I upload 5 videos a week on my YouTube from our travels. Like I said, Jeremy has phone calls. We like it quiet so we can sleep, and also so I can film videos like this one. So that's the main two, is having quiet and Wi-Fi. And then also a third is kind of a good location. So you could definitely find cheaper accommodation if you go for like a budget hostel and stay in a dorm room and, you know, be on a loud street or whatever in the centre of town. But that's something that we didn't really want. So we did spend a little bit extra on accommodation. I know you spent a lot of time looking at different ones, trying to find the best kind of option in terms of money. So what I'm going to do is link all of the accommodation that we stayed at in the description box down below. So if you want to stay in any place that we stayed, you'll know that there's good Wi-Fi, it's quiet, and it's pretty close to town.
Yeah.
So,
and the reason we also went for hotel with booking.com as an Airbnb is because between the language barrier and the fact that we don't need a kitchen because eating out is cheaper than what we know in Europe and stuff like that, we saw hotel, and also because we arrived at 6 a.m. sometimes and stuff, so we wanted to be able to check in and have someone at reception whenever we wanted and just make it easy rather than texting on WhatsApp to get the keys and stuff like that. So that's why we went for hotel and booking.com.
So 500 euros.
Yeah, 500 euro, which is basically 16 euro a night.
Which is about €8.30 per person. Yeah. So obviously if you were solo travelling it would be 16 a night. If you're travelling as two, it's about €8 per night each. Next up is transportation.
Yeah, which was also quite a big expense. We spent 348, so 350 euro basically in traveling. So we moved between the 5 cities that Rosie mentioned before. A lot of buses, overnight train through long distances. A couple of taxi here and there, but not that many to be honest. Taxi from the airport and a couple of tuk-tuk on Grab. But mainly it's buses and train. And yeah, Vietnam is a big country, so the distances are quite big, so obviously it cost a little bit, but I think that was actually quite affordable compared to European standard.
Yeah, so if you travel, for example, from Lancaster, where my parents live in the north of England, to London, it can cost you somewhere between £120 to £150 for a return, per person. So you can kind of either get one trip in England or a month of travel in Vietnam. And like Jeremy said, there was a lot of 16-hour overnight trains. We did buses and lots of different things. So it wasn't just, I don't know, I think that's reasonable.
And also that we paid, for example, for the 2 train, we paid a little bit extra to get the first class. Yeah. So we had a smaller room with less people and it was better sleep and stuff like that. So yeah, no, ultimately I think we traveled a lot, so it was fair, I would say. Next
up is eating out.
So we ate out every single day pretty much, apart from a couple of times when Rosie wasn't feeling well. Lunch and dinner, we tend to skip breakfast. So we spent 301 euro on eating out in a month, which kind of breaks it down to 10 euro a day for both of us, which means it's 5 euro a day per person. So €2.50 per meal in average, which is
pretty good going.
Yeah.
We had a lot
decent
of
food as well.
We had a lot of phobo, which is beef noodle soup. We had a lot of street food as well, which we loved, like spring rolls and noodles and things like that. So a lot of local food. I think you could obviously spend more if you went to posh restaurants and did that whole thing. That's not really what we're interested in as much. We quite like just sitting down with a random person being like, 2 please, and just eating whatever turns up. So the food can definitely be affordable if you want it to be. It could also probably be really expensive if you want it to be as well.
You could easily triple it. You could triple it without going to too fancy places.
Yeah.
Just by going in a sit-down restaurant,
Yeah.
like more like a normal restaurant
Yeah.
compared to European standard. Like you could easily triple that
I
for
think
the same food.
I think you could triple also accommodation, like all of it you could probably
Yeah.
triple depending on your budget. But for us, eating at like small local places is what we prefer, and it's also better for our budget.
So yeah, 300 for a month. I think that was quite good.
Yeah. Next up is groceries.
Yeah, that's
So there was a couple of times where I was like, okay, noodles and rice and chicken is good and all, but I miss like an avocado, a red pepper, tomato, fruit. Like I really crave like cold fruit and veg in particular, not like cooked food all the time. So there's a couple of times we went out and got food.
we spent 35 euro, so not much, and I'm pretty sure half of that is actually chocolate, which you didn't mention.
Oh yeah, chocolate. I mean, come
Yeah.
on, everyone needs a bit of chocolate.
No, yeah, this is like snacks when we travel. We take a bus also,
Oh,
a train,
crisp,
and
dried mango.
Yeah, we get like a
I
few
bet half
snacks
of that
here
is
and
dried
there.
mango.
A couple of bottles of water here and there,
Mm.
and some veggies and one thing of pasta that Rosie had one day, I think. Yeah, so not much basically. 35 euro, like you see, we didn't spend too much there.
So total eating out and groceries is about 335 euros for 2 people for 2 meals a day, basically.
Yeah, so we are like 550 per day per person.
Not bad.
No.
Next up is drinks.
Drinks. So we spend 48 euro on drinks. That is not going to the pub and getting pissed. Is basically we spend a lot of time working, so we like to go in a cafe to get some work done. So usually we go in a cafe, we order a drink. It can be like a lemon tea or a matcha latte for me or whatever is available. So is that. We also went to watch the World Cup final, and I actually had a few beers
Oh yeah.
at this place, so there's probably a
Couple
little
of
bit
beers
of
in
that.
there.
Yeah. But mainly is basically when we go to a cafe to work, we get a drink.
So that's not bad. How much was it a month?
No, 48.
48, 50 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that would be the same every month. I think it also depends on how much water you buy. So a lot of places we were boiling water and then pouring it in a bottle and drinking from that. Whereas in Cambodia now we've been buying water more rather than boiling
Yeah.
it. So I think that might change slightly, but
Yeah, and we've been going to a cafe a bit more, but yeah.
otherwise $50 a month, 50 euros a month on drinks to be able to work
Yeah, it's basically
It's not that
renting
an office space.
space in a co-working area. So if you sit this way, it's cheap.
Yeah, it's a work expense.
Yeah.
Next up is utilities. What does that mean?
Utilities is mainly the SIM card, and we had to print a couple of documents and stuff like that. It's mainly the SIM card. We spent 14 euro. We probably overpaid the SIM card at the airport in Hanoi when we arrived. We could have got it for half price in town, but
Yeah, never
ultimately it
mind.
doesn't change that much. We got one SIM card per country every time, and we just share the connection when we can. So yeah, it's a necessary expense anyway, so it's cool.
It comes in handy for things like Google Translate,
Yeah.
maps, whenever we're like Googling things, or it's like Jeremy said, he had the SIM card and then I could just share the connection whenever I needed to use it. So we both had access, which worked really well in
And
Vietnam.
usually you get a good amount of data, so if you need to upload or do phone calls or whatever on your phone, it's pretty. And internet was really good as well, I want to say,
Yeah.
like the 4G, 5G, whatever it is pretty good. So
Next up is fun/activities. This is all our day trips
because
and
we're still tourists a little bit.
access to things, yeah.
So we have spent 203 euro, so 200 euro in a month on fun and visits. That include like 2 or 3 day trips, full day trips, a few museum, a few visit of historical places. Overall, I think that's again for the day trips and the experiences that we
Yeah.
had. I think it's fairly cheap.
Yeah, I think especially because, like I said, we are working, but then we also obviously want to visit the country that we're visiting. So I think doing day trips like this, or even access to a museum, it was like a couple of dollars each, but you just learn so much about the country and the history. And like the boat trips is where we kind of made, well, the day trips, sorry, is where we made our like core memories of like, okay, we're on a boat in Halong Bay, we went to see this old temple, we went to see these Malva Mountains, we went to do this boat trip thing. And it's kind of like all of our best memories, I think, are from our day trips where we've done things. Does that also include the motorbike hire?
Yeah,
Around
it was
Cat
for a
Island,
day, and
yeah.
it was like €4, I think. So ultimately, there's 200, but half of that, or actually 2 days, is the whole day in Halong Bay
Yeah.
and the whole day in Hoi An when we did Marble Mountain and Mission.
Yeah.
That was just those 2-day trip were 100,
Yeah.
and then bits and bobs here and there was the other 100 basically.
Before we carry on, I'm going to leave. We did a video just before this one, it's live already, talking about our whole trip, not in terms of budget, but in terms of like where we went, what we did, where we stayed, and our top 3 things to do in each of the cities. So I'll leave that link down below. I'm also going to leave our playlist link down below as well, because I think I created something like 28 videos from 1 month in Vietnam, because I was vlogging a lot. There's lots of day trips on there, lots of cool information, and yeah, so I'll leave it linked if you want to go and watch kind of our whole trip.
And then we have the less sexy.
Yeah, next up is
Categories.
laundry.
Yeah, we spend €23 in laundry. We usually do it once a week, basically, and it's a necessity. The way it works in all of the places that we stay is usually you pay per kilo. The price is between €1 and €2 per kilo, sometimes 3. One place was charging per item, so we did a small one because it was kind of expensive otherwise.
We wash the essentials for that
But
place.
yeah, I mean that's something that we have to do anyway. So again, it's like the SIM card rice. We just get it done because we have to.
I also think with that one, that's something that when I went travelling when I was young, like 21 or something, I think I took like a bottle of washing stuff and I'd wash things in the sink and try and hang it up, which of course you can do and save yourself loads of money because one of those things that costs £2 or £3, euros, whatever. But it's just not practical for us. We're just not at that stage of life where I want to be washing my knickers in a sink. So we do pay for laundry. That is something that you could not pay for if you don't want to, but it's something that
also,
we
I
choose
think
to.
it depends where you stay and stuff like that. If you have an outside space in the sun, it can be quick to dry.
Yeah.
If you stay inside and things are closed and it's quite humid, I think it can take a while. And when you move every 5 days, it's not always practical, right?
You wanna make sure it's dry.
there is always this sense of practicality. Again, €20, we can afford that. So.
One thing I will say for anyone who has a bra, I have been washing my bra just with water in the sink just to kind of, because it gets sweaty in these countries around here. So bra is something I will wash with water and maybe hand soap or something and leave to dry in the shower. But everything else is being washed like, once a week.
And we didn't lose anything, so.
Yeah, it's been pretty good so far.
Yeah.
Next up.
Then there is
Tips.
tips. Somehow I've left 47 cents of tips somewhere. It doesn't sound great, right?
No.
But, yeah, it was actually in local money, so it was a bit better than that. I honestly don't remember where it was or how it was. I had a look, and in Vietnam, tipping is not a thing. A bit like in Europe, like you don't really tip people like in the US. It's not in the culture. And I've read in some blog posts that even like some people can get offended when you try to tip them. Well, I don't know.
Somehow
I'm
we
not a
tipped
big tipper to be
47p.
honest anyway, so yeah. Yeah, somehow it's there.
Next up is bank fees.
Bank fees, €9 of bank fees. So this is basically when you take money out at the ATM, either the ATM is going to charge you some dollars for the withdrawal, or when your bank is going to charge you a fee because you're in a foreign country and you're taking more than maybe a certain threshold that you have on your plan or whatever. I tried to optimize that as much as possible through different credit cards and going to the right ATM with a less fee and stuff like that. But yeah, there's still €9 that I missed basically, but it's fine.
So Jeremy, I forgot to mention at the beginning, is like the finance person of the relationship. He keeps control of everything on YNAB. It's You Need a Budget, but it's an app where he tracks every single transaction, incoming and outgoing, so that we can see exactly where we spend our money. But you're also very good at like using certain bank cards and certain methods and like going to certain banks and doing certain things so that we save money and stay safe. So what we're going to do is do a video where we talk all about how we stay safe and save money. So lots of tips and tricks are going to be in that video, so make sure you subscribe for that
Travel
one.
hacks.
Yeah, because I think he's good at this. Like, I have no idea. I'd have wasted so much money if I was on my own, but he's good at that stuff. Next up is health insurance, like healthcare.
Yeah, health. So that's mainly, so it's €90. That's mainly our health insurance with SafetyWings.
Linked below.
So it's actually $44 per person for 4 weeks. So $88 with the exchange rate. We're there. I think you bought something at the pharmacy also one day. I can't remember what it was. So it's probably like €80 of health insurance and €10 of something that we bought at the pharmacy somewhere that I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah, again, this is a mandatory expenses for us. We don't want to travel without a health insurance. We hope that this is money that it's going to be wasted, because I hope I never use it, to be honest. But I'd rather have it. We are covered for a lot of things, apart from like extreme activities and stuff like that. But yeah, you never know if you need to go to the hospital or whatever. At least we are covered.
Okay, last one is visa.
Yes, so you need to pay for a visa in Vietnam for a 30-day tourist visa. It's all online and it's €50, so 25 each. And yeah, it takes 5 minutes to go through the application, and you receive your visa via email about 2 or 3 days later. That you just need to print and show it at the airport when you arrive. So yeah, that's just something again now we have to go through.
So, you ready for the grand total?
€1,622.
And 13 cents.
13 cents for a month.
So €1,620 for a month, which is how much per day?
So it's a total of €54 a day for both of us, which means it's €27 per day per person, including everything.
So €27 per person, which is accommodation, food, transport, activities, meals out, drinks, insurance, all the rest of it. So that's not bad, is it?
Yeah, yes, right, yeah. And again, our biggest expense was accommodation. A third of that was the accommodation. 20% of that was transportation, because we moved a lot, and 20% was eating out. So yeah, basically those three categories, accommodation, transportation, and eating out, is 70% of what we spend, just to give you an idea of...
He's done a pie chart. I'll stick it on the screen so you can see that for yourself, because some people are visual people. But that's going to close up today's video. There's people doing gardening outside. I'm sure you can hear them talking and spraying water, so I apologise for that. But thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about everything we talked about, please do let us know in the comment section down below. I can pass them over to Jeremy, who can help and talk to you about finances. Like I said, I will leave all of the accommodation link down below. I'll also leave the playlist link down below, and the video that we did recapping Vietnam as a whole, I'll leave that link down below as well if you want to watch that.
And if you went to Vietnam, let us know how much we spend, just so we can compare by curiosity.
Was this more or less than you were expecting? Let us know. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.